So as I said before the break, I hope you enjoyed the break, and I hope you did enjoy the break.
Yes.
So we were just saying that we have a bit of a tendency, because we both have so much to say, sometimes we talk a little over each other. I apologize.
That's okay.
Yeah, and it's okay when you talk over me too.
Absolutely.
It's happening again.
We are the girls, we are allowed to do that.
It happens.
Yes.
But anyway, welcome to the show, Noreen. So wonderful to have you here, and we promise not to talk over you.
Even if you did, that's okay. It's such an honor to be here and be with both of you guys today. Thank you for having me.
Long time no see. So, how's everything with you?
Well, things have really shifted.
Yes.
I ended up getting a soul call to go visit the Rocky Mountains for 7 weeks. And I spent 7 weeks in a place called Canmore, Alberta. And I know you guys were talking about Illuminate Your Magic and how you guys were present at the last one.
Yes.
Well, while I was in the mountains, I got huge downloads about what the next one was going to be about.
And the next Illuminate Your Magic.
The next Illuminate Your Magic. And it ended up being that I was guided to write a play. Mm-hmm. And it's because a lot of teaching happens through creativity.
Yeah, the creative arts and visual arts.
Exactly. And what it really came from was a friend of mine gifted me a ticket to Matilda. Have you guys seen Matilda, the musical? So being a healer, an energy healer, and a seer of all things, I visited Matilda and I watched the entire audience's energy shift. I saw healings take place. I watched transformations in people's eyes. I saw family lives shifting. I saw children coming into their own. All the things that I just happened to observe in the audience as an audience member gave me this huge insight as to how to bring forth really powerful information in very playful ways. And so I spent 7 weeks in the mountain actually writing a play, and I decided to go visit my high school drama teacher while I was there because I was only about an hour's drive away from where I grew up. And one of the things that my high school drama teacher said was that I had one of the best monologues that he ever remembered from high school, which was over 15 years ago.
And for him to still remember it, it really must have been one of the best ever.
Exactly.
So I went back to my script and I scrapped the entire thing and I said, I'm going to rewrite this thing so that I'm in it. So
good for you.
I did it because I thought I haven't acted since I was in high school, and I really missed that passion that I had for the stage. You guys have seen me on stage as Selena, but you haven't seen me as an actor. Mm-hmm. And so what I realized is that the teacher actually is also the actor. Yeah. The story is the teacher. So I created this really incredible story about this girl who experiences so many things that people in our society experience. And I found all the actors and I put this thing together. And I just got back to Toronto about 2.5 weeks ago. And this play is actually happening tomorrow.
Oh my God. Okay.
Amazing. Yes.
We're bringing
what a perfect timing.
Yeah. So we're bringing actors, we're bringing drummers, we're bringing artists, and we're having musicals, and we're having all kinds of people have the opportunity to be hands-on with instruments and have the ability to paint, have the ability to sing, get guided meditations. It's a full-on 2-day event this time, and it's really all about the lessons that are in this theatrical production that I wrote while I was in the mountains.
Wow.
So a couple of questions come to mind, Noreen.
Yeah.
First and foremost is, how did you find everyone to collaborate with you, the artists, the painters, the actors and actresses?
Absolutely. Well, the audience are the painters. So that's the fun part, is that the audience actually in this one are a lot more hands-on. So there's less stuff happening on stage, and it's more of a workshop style. So everyone
more
gets
interactive.
And same with the drumming. The audience is actually going to be doing the drumming. We have a shaman who's coming in who's actually, he runs drumming ceremonies for people. And he's actually coming in to run a ceremony, bringing an instrument for everyone in the audience so that everyone gets to drum. But when it comes to the actors and the volunteers, that's saying that says, you put out to the universe what you want, and then the universe just conspires
to make everything come together.
This particular Illuminate Your Magic is exactly that. Yeah. I didn't know a lot of actors. I didn't know people in my network even acted because, as you guys know, I've been really working on people in a spiritual way. So I started finding out that there are people in my network and people who have been regularly attending my workshops that they actually have a background in acting.
How perfect.
And they reached out to me.
Yes.
And the universe just started giving me all these beautiful people. We actually, in 6 weeks before the event, we had a lineup of volunteers that we couldn't even accept as volunteers because our waiting list for volunteers was so big. Yeah.
That's divinely conspired, to say the least.
We're blessed. We have 30 solid volunteers. They've been on calls with us every week. We've been getting together to rehearse. There's been all kinds of really powerful interactions that have taken place. And to give you guys a little bit of the background scene, because you guys got to experience what happens when you show up.
Yes.
Right?
The after the whole production aspect of it.
But this is one of a kind in the sense that every single table, even when you come to your table, you'll notice the tables are always in a circle. Yes. Healing takes place in circles. To find an event space that has a theater and circular round tables at the same time is quite a challenge. Because if you think of a typical theater space, you think of everything in rows. And so we really had to look hard to find a place that would have these round tables and a nice stage and the whole works. And then in addition to that, we wanted to make sure that when people came in, that they were really guided to go to tables where they would connect with their soul family, people that they really felt called to, and people that they may not know.
People that they naturally gravitate towards.
Right, exactly. So we do a whole intention setting and meditation around that, right? And then before anyone even comes in, we actually normalize the space with color therapy. And we do very powerful affirmations for every single person that walks in to make sure that they're feeling really, really in a space of safety and transformation. All the volunteers in this one actually had the opportunity to do a meditation where they get to find the animal totem for their table. So every table has its own animal totem.
Wow.
Every table is decorated by one of the volunteers. Everything is done with precise detail, and this particular Illuminate Your Magic, the script has layers and layers and layers of meaning and depth to it. So if someone wants to come in and look at it from one angle, they can say, okay, this is helping me with my career. But someone can come into the same play and say, wow, this is helping me understand my relationships. And then someone else can come into the same play and say, this is helping me cope with the grief of a loss of a parent. So in essence, because the story has so many layers
and nuances,
exactly, people will be able to take home whatever they're ready to take home.
And to think that it all, like the impetus for this was the play Matilda. And exactly what you shared, Noreen, that your experience of just being in that space and sharing, not sharing, but observing what was occurring around you. You're like, okay, this is what I want to create. And really, people think that, and you are very special and spiritual, but we can all evoke that within ourselves.
Absolutely.
Just by being aware and present and observant. There's always so much going on around us, and how much are we really paying attention to it?
Exactly. The signs and the synchronicities are everywhere. On my way over here, I kept seeing 111 everywhere. And I always...
111. Yes.
So there's always something that's speaking to us through numbers, through animals. I remember just this morning I was having a workout, and my thoughts were not in the best place. And all of a sudden something said to me, switch your thoughts. Start thinking more positive thoughts. And as soon as I did, the lights went on in the gym. Because when I got in,
you were literally in the dark.
I was in the dark, and it was such a metaphor for change your thoughts. And as soon as I did that, the lights literally went on in the gym. And
enlightenment, so to speak.
There you go. That was your magical
No accidents. No accident.
Noreen was illuminating her magic.
I was illuminating my magic. Because that's how I get to illuminate everyone else.
Absolutely.
And I give myself permission to go into my own vulnerable space and see what's ready to be shifted.
And that is so great that you share that, Noreen, because it all does start with us.
Absolutely.
You know, the quote, charity begins at home. And we always think that within our family we have to be loving, but what about us ourselves?
This home, the temple.
And in this whole process, we forget about ourselves and to take care of ourselves, and that's what's really important, especially as mothers and caretakers, in the busy lifestyles, and
as healers,
yes, as any role, It starts from here, it starts from us. So, speaking of your last workshop, we attended your last workshop.
Yes, it was so great to have you guys there.
Absolutely. It was quite an amazing experience, and my apologies for not being able to stay for the entire session, because it was all day workshop. So, as you mentioned, that this experience is going to be different from the previous one, because this is now rather than having speakers, you are going to have play.
And and even we're going to even be having musicians,
more hands-on experience,
dancers,
it's exactly
flute players,
exactly
drummers.
So even in that workshop, that's what we experienced. You know, they were quite hands-on experiences. It was something very different and quite spiritual experience and quite something different. You know, and I couldn't translate my thoughts. You know, that exactly what place and space I was in. You know, what was happening to me, but I know that exactly I was shifting somewhere. You know, and it's not where I was before. So, and where I wanted to be, that's still need to be defined, right? And so that's where you're saying that we should, so it was the phase of awareness. Is that correct? That I can say that it could be my phase of awareness.
Absolutely.
And again, it's layers and layers, right?
Absolutely.
Which is really hard in this 15-20 minutes to actually describe or say to speak to it. But I'm sure in your expertise, you know, you can shed some light for myself and for the listeners here.
Absolutely. Well, a lot of us just go through life unconscious. So we're not really fully aware as to why things are happening the way they are. And usually it takes a significant amount of events that build up to a reaction. And we wonder, why is it taking so long to get the point? Because why do we have to go so deep into a scenario where we have all of this built up energy or anger, frustration or disappointment or sadness before we can actually see the silver lining? And it's just because we're not aware, because the signs are always there. The signs are always there. The universe never stops giving. It's us that stops seeing what's being given. And so the first step is to really recognize that if you have a repetitive thing that keeps going on, if you're constantly finding yourself unhappy in relationships, getting fired from your job, realizing that there's always something weird between you and your coworkers or your managers, or having certain housing situations or food or diet situations that don't feel right. If you continue on that path, eventually you will discover that there is something in it for you. However, if you allow yourself to say, why is this happening? I'm looking at a pattern here. I see that every time, for example, let's keep it really simple. Every time I go to the gym, I'll go for about 2 weeks and then I will stop. So
I think that's a recurring pattern for a lot of us.
So if we can identify with, well, what is the reason that happened? Why does that happen? And how does this actually translate to how do I show up in my relationships? Do I just go hard for the first 2 weeks that I meet somebody and then
back off? Because what I've heard time and time again is the way that we are in one aspect of our life, we're that way in all aspects of our life.
I don't know if I believe that anymore.
Really? Yeah. That's shifted?
Yeah, that is one thing that, and I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I feel like in the new energy, I feel like that has shifted. Because we have programs from past lives where certain energies and relationships show up, but very different energies in, say, in the way we handle money. Shows up. So it could be going anywhere, but we will be enlightened further by Noreen. For now, we will be taking a short break.